Hello everyone, I'm Bethany with Texas Women's University Fitness and Recreation, and this is Virtual Pilates. The goal of today takes a break from our full Pilates shoulder bridge, and we will continue working on our swimmer and our breaststroke. So from here, we will actually not start lying on our backs. We'll begin in a quadruped stance. We won't need any equipment today unless you know that your body likes to use certain equipment during certain moves. And as always, I would like for you guys to make sure that you're really listening to your body, you're taking breaks as you see fit, and hydrating appropriately. So, in our quadruped stance, we've got our joints stacked. We've got a small pocket of air underneath our palms, kind of like we're palming a basketball. And once we check in here, we're just going to take several deep breaths. So I'm turned to the camera, but I'm going to be turning here, here, so that my spine is all in one line. So you guys can see the difference between being lifted and being pushed forward and having my head rotated. I want to be here, kind of looking at the top edge of my mat, or in my case, eye line is probably going to be about right here. Yeah? So, we're just going to begin taking deep breaths. Breathing in, and then exhaling, still blowing out our imaginary birthday cake candles through pursed lips, and feeling that belly draw in and up, away from the t-shirt. Let's take two more here, breathing in. Feeling that belly draw in on the exhale. And last one, breathing in, staying in that neutral spine. And exhaling, feeling that belly draw in. Now with the pelvis, we're going to go into our imprint and our release. So we have been working on this reclining. Instead, we are now facing the mat instead of laying on our backs, and we're going to think about tucking the pelvis as though we were still laying on our backs. So it'll be that small tuck and then a release. That small tuck and then the release. Yes? Let's take three together. Take a breath in and out to prepare, feeling the abs funnel down, and then let's take an inhale into our imprint, just with the pelvis, and then exhale, release back to neutral without necessarily going here. Let's take two more. Inhaling into that imprint, tucking the pelvis, and then exhale, releasing back to neutral. Last one, inhale to the imprint, and then exhale, release it back to neutral. Now we're going to add the upper back. Let's do this together. Inhaling through our imprint, and then exhaling, trying to connect the bottom of the ribs to the top of the hips. And then we're going to inhale here, feeling that rib cage expand, and then exhale, lengthen it out starting from the tailbone to the head. So notice that it's not here into a stretchy stretch. It's take that neutral spine, tuck the pelvis, curl the ribs. Can I go further? Yes. However, we're looking at spinal mobility here. So let's take two more again together. Inhaling into our imprint, and then exhaling, ribs to pelvis. Inhale to hold, rib cage expands. And then exhale, lengthen tail to head. Last one here. Inhale through that imprint, tucking the pelvis. Exhale, rib cage to hips. Feeling that core contract. Inhale to hold. Rib cage expands, and then exhale, tail to head lengthens to neutral. Excellent. Let's now come to our backs for our hip release. The heels will be sits bones distance apart or center of the back of the hip. Knees bent and pointing to the ceiling. The arms can be either by the hips or, if you'd like some space, out in kind of a low V. Shoulders feeling like they're naturally coming down the back without popping the chest. Let's take an inhale as we let the hip open. Knee comes out to the side. Keep inhaling to lengthen that foot down the mat. Then exhale, knees and toes to ceiling, and keep exhaling to draw it in. Let's take two more. Inhale, open. Keep inhaling to lengthen. Exhale, rotate to parallel, and then keep exhaling to draw in. Last one. Inhale, open. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, rotate, and draw in. Switching to the other side. Let's inhale, open. Inhale, lengthen down the mat. Exhale, knees and toes to ceiling. Keep exhaling to draw it in. Two more. Inhale, open. Keep inhaling to lengthen. Exhale, rotate to parallel, and keep exhaling to draw it in. Last one. Inhale, open. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, rotate, and exhale, draw it in. Switching back to the first leg, we'll go backwards, keeping the breath pattern the same. So it'll be inhaling to lengthen, rotate, and then bend and draw in. Let's go together. Inhale to lengthen down the mat. Keep inhaling to rotate at that hip. Exhale, bend the knee. Keep that foot in line with the back of the hip. And keep exhaling to draw it in. Two more. Inhale, lengthen. Keep inhaling to rotate. Exhale, bend, and keep exhaling to draw in. Last one. Inhale, lengthen, rotate. Exhale, bend, and draw it in. Switching to the other side. Let's inhale to lengthen down the mat. Keep inhaling to rotate at that hip joint. Exhale, bend that knee, and then draw that knee back to center toward the ceiling. Two more. Inhale, lengthen. Keep inhaling to rotate. Exhale, bend that knee. Keep exhaling back to the start position. Last time. Inhale, lengthen. Keep inhaling to rotate. Exhale, bend that knee, and keep exhaling to draw it in. Excellent. Let's come to our sides. So we've been working with a yoga block underneath the side of the head here, so that when we rotated, we had a little bit of support. I want to work with you on an option to cradle the head here. So we'll first begin by checking in, stacking the joints. So knees are stacked, hips are stacked, and I'm looking for the bony structures here. In case you're, why is she doing this? I'm looking for bony landmarks so that I know what's happening both visually and internally. Then need my shoulders to be stacked. May need some adjusting, and I want to feel the sensation of this rib kind of lifting off the mat without being here in an actual arc. Then I'm supporting my head in my hand. The free hand reaches forward in line with the shoulder. And then I'm going to inhale as I rotate. My gaze follows my hand. I'm rotating through the obliques into my mirror. And then I'm going to exhale. Use my obliques to take me back to that start position. And then I'll scoot forward and rinse, repeat very quickly with my alignment. All right, doing good. That way I have space. Let's take two more. Inhaling to rotate, gaze follows the hand, leaving the hips stacked. Then exhale. Gaze follows the hand back to that start position. Let's take a last one. Inhaling. And then exhaling. Rotating through the obliques. Excellent. Let's flip it all around. Coming to the other side, And again, checking in, do we have knees stacked, hips stacked, shoulders stacked, and also shoulders in line with the hips. So as I was I exaggerate, but I was back here. I want to make sure that I'm in line in this direction as well. Then I can cradle the back of the head. All right, we look in line here. We now look in line through here, and I can feel this sensation of coming up from the mat, supporting the weight of my head in my hand. Then I reach the arm forward in line with my shoulder, and we'll inhale, rotating through the obliques, gaze following my hand. And then we'll exhale, using the obliques to come back to that start position. Awesome. Let's take 2 more. Inhaling, following the hand with the gaze. And then exhaling, taking it back to start. Last time, inhaling, rotating through those obliques, and then exhaling. The obliques bring you back to start. Wonderful. Let's come back to our backs. That same start position as before with the hip release. Now we're going into hip rolls. So heels in line with the sits bones, knees bent and pointing to the ceiling. This time the palms can frame the hips. Palm down on either side of the hands, and we're thinking about those shoulders kind of pressing back into the mat without the exaggerated pop here of the rib cage. We still want the ribs to be neutral, pointing down toward the hip bones here. So we'll pass through our imprint on an inhale to get there. Let's take a full breath cycle in and out. Feeling that belly draw in and away from the t-shirt. Then let's inhale through our imprint, pelvis tilts, and we'll exhale, curling that spine, 1 vertebrae at a time up off the mat to get that nice diagonal shape here, keeping the flat part of the shoulder blades on the mat. So not going here, we're here, squeezing through the glute hamstring connection, the back of the thigh, back of the hips to come to that diagonal shape. We'll inhale at the top, and then we'll exhale, start to curl that spine down 1 vertebrae at a time. And then when the back of the hips touches the mat, we can release back to our neutral spine. All right, let's keep with those. Inhaling as we pass through our imprint, and then exhaling, curling it up off the mat here. Inhaling to hold, and then exhaling, rolling it back down 1 vertebrae at a time. Then releasing the hips last, back to neutral. 1 more like this. Let's inhale through that imprint, and then exhale, curl that spine deliberately 1 vertebrae at a time up off the mat, keeping the backs of the shoulder blades on the mat. Inhale at the top, really squeezing those glutes, and then exhale, keep that lift through the glutes as we roll that spine back down 1 vertebrae at a time. You can see my own legs shaking. And then we can release the hips to neutral when they come to the mat. All right, let's go into some shoulder work here. Those hands can either stay gliding on the mat or float in a hover just above the mat. We're going to inhale as we lift the shoulders up towards the ears, and then we'll exhale, reach those fingertips right back down toward the heels. Let's take that again, inhaling to elevate the shoulders to the ears, then exhaling, fingertips to toes. Inhaling to ears, and exhaling to toes. 2 more, inhaling to ears, and then exhaling to toes, and then inhaling to ears, and exhaling to toes. Let's let the arms float down for a moment. We'll go into our head nods here. We'll inhale to lengthen the back of the neck and keep the head still on the mat. And we'll exhale, take that gaze and that head right back up to neutral or to the ceiling. So the head isn't popping up off the mat. Let's take 2 more there. Inhale as we nod the head. And then exhale, release to neutral. Last one, inhale, nod. And then exhale, back to neutral. Let those arms float up so that the hands are above the shoulders, reaching to the ceiling, palms facing in. We're going to go into protraction and retraction of the shoulders, all in one fluid moment. So we'll inhale, reach those fingertips up to the ceiling, shoulders protract, and then exhale. Draw the backs of the shoulders lightly into the mat. And then we'll take that again, trying to keep the hands from opening or coming in, staying right above the shoulders. Inhaling to reach. And then exhaling. Trying to get the shoulders pressing lightly into the mat. Again, reaching forward, inhale to protract, then exhale, pressing the backs of the shoulder blades into the mat to retract. 2 more like this, inhaling and exhaling, pressing into the mat. Last one here, inhaling to reach, and then exhaling to protract, and then we'll inhale to neutral, and exhale, we can float those arms down. From here, we'll go into our ab prep. So you can leave the hands on either side of the hips hovering. I'll demo one really quick. We'll inhale to a head nod, then we'll exhale to flex it up. We'll inhale to hold at the top, and then we'll exhale, flex it back down. Sometimes folks, including myself, have some tension here in the neck and shoulders. So if you take kind of clawed fingertips, you can gently carry the weight of your head in your fingertips. So it's not about pulling into that curl, but more taking that tension out of your neck. So you'd be here in this shape. It's also not about how far you can sit up. It's about how much you can use this conveyor belt kind of curling up here, shortening, and then gently supporting and lengthening along your back line. So let's begin. Inhaling as we nod the head. All right, we got that. Then exhale. Hands glide above the mat as we think of contracting through here to our ab prep position. We'll inhale to hold. And then we'll exhale, lengthen it back down 1 vertebrae at a time. Awesome. Let's take several more. Let's inhale to nod the head. Exhale. Flex it up. Inhale to hold. And then exhale. Roll it back down 1 vertebrae at a time. And on that inhale, you're still thinking belly button is drawing to the back of the spine, even though we are inhaling. Let's take 3 more. Inhale to nod the head. Exhale. Flex it up. Inhale to hold. And then exhale. Slow and controlled. Roll it back down. And again, inhale, nod. Exhale. Flex it up. Inhaling to hold. And then exhaling. Flexing it back down. 1 more here. Inhaling to nod. Exhaling. Flexing it up. Inhaling to hold. And then exhaling. Rolling it back down. Now we're going to work on adding on. So we'll inhale to nod the head. We'll exhale. Flex it up. If you have not joined me, go ahead and join me here in your ab prep position. Then we'll exhale to float 1 leg up to tabletop and the other leg up Then we'll inhale the first leg down and inhale the second leg down. Then we'll switch directions. Exhale, up to tabletop, up to tabletop. Then inhale, lower back down, and lower back down. Switching directions again. Exhale, to tabletop, to tabletop. Then inhaling back down, and back down. Switching directions. Exhaling, up to tabletop, and back down on an inhale, and still an inhale. We'll do 2 more rounds. Exhaling up, and up, inhaling down, and down. Last time, exhaling up, and up, then inhaling down, and down. Take a breath in here at the top, and then exhale. Roll it down 1 vertebrae at a time. And then if you need to take the head side to side in a little rock, you can give that a go. Make sure there's no tension in the head and neck and shoulders. And then we're going to repeat that, but we will add on, and hopefully it'll be awesome. So let's inhale to nod the head. Exhale. Flex it up. Inhale to hold. Exhale. Float the legs to a tabletop position. Keep them here. Inhale. Take the hands behind the head. Exhale to hold. Then we're going to inhale as we rotate. So twisting through the obliques, and the goal is not armpit to knee. The goal is just to rotate and keep that flexed up shape. Then we'll exhale back to center. Then we'll inhale, take that rotation in the other direction, and then exhale back to center. Notice if your knees are wobbling on you. Mine are kind of taking me for a ride. So we'll keep going here, doing the best that we can. Inhaling to rotate, and then exhaling back to center. Inhaling to rotate through those obliques. Exhale, back to center. Again, inhale to rotate. Exhale to center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale to center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center, keeping that curl. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. This is our last round. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. And inhale, rotate. And exhale, center. Inhale, hold. And then exhale, roll the head and neck and shoulders down. But the hands are going to find their way to the thighs. So we're going to go into our single leg stretch with the head and shoulders still reclined on the mat. So we'll inhale to lengthen one leg without dropping it to the floor. So the glute hamstring is really pressing it down with that pointed toe. Then we're going to exhale, drop back in. Hands resting lightly on the thighs. Let's switch to the other side. Inhaling, pressing through that glute to lengthen. Then exhaling, back to center. Switching sides each time. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhale, draw it in. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling, drawing in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw in. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw in. 2 more rounds. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw in. Last time, each side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, draw in. Inhale to hold. And then exhale, carefully float the legs. back down to that start position. Wonderful. Let's flip over on to our stomachs. And we're going to go into our breaststroke prep here. We worked on this a little bit in the past few weeks. The legs are rotated at the hip joint here, and the toes are pointing out toward the corner edges of the mat. In our face down or prone position, we're thinking of the belly button drawing away from the mat, the floor, or the t-shirt, and toward the back of the spine. And then the arms are, generally speaking, forearm and palm down on either side of the torso. However, some wiggle room applies. So sometimes people are more comfortable here or slightly more forward. About here seems to make sense on my body because the goal is not the pushing up. The goal is a little bit of tactile reinforcement as you use your upper back to lift you up here. Checking in with my body, make sure that my head isn't here. I want the head and the neck and the spine to all be in line, and then I'll curl down. And I'll keep my feet and legs on the mat the entire time. So we'll do 3 of those. Here we go. So begin hovering the face off the mat here. We'll take a full breath cycle in and out to prepare. We'll feel the glutes drawing lightly together and up to support us. And then we'll inhale as we lengthen up. And then we'll exhale, draw it down. Then we'll take 2 more together. Inhaling to lengthen up. And then exhale, draw it back down, closing that rib cage. Last one. Inhaling up. And then exhaling, drawing it back down. We'll go into breaststroke prep number 2 in just a moment, but I thought that I would share with you guys since I am recording at home. The small little yips that you hear are my working German Shepherd dog who barks to himself in his sleep. So he is a very big boy, between 90 to 110 pounds, depending upon the season and how much extra fuzz he has. So I don't know if you guys can hear him, but the tiny barks are, I guess he's chasing rabbits in his sleep. So moving on to breaststroke prep 2. Instead of being in this framed position with the hands and forearms on the mat, we're going to keep that same position in the upper body and fan the arms down so the palms are facing in toward the hips. And the shoulders are thinking of coming lightly up, back, and down without lifting us up off the mat just yet. Now I'm popped up a little bit because I'm addressing you guys, but I want to be more here in a hover. Sometimes a block or a very small pad can be useful underneath your forehead here if you find tension or if your nose is smooshed up against the mat. But we'll keep with that similar breathing pattern. We'll take a full breath in and out to prepare. Feeling that belly button draw away from the mat and the glutes squeeze together and up very lightly. Then we'll inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale to hold. Then we'll inhale, lift a tiny bit higher, and then exhale, lower it back to that hover. And again, inhale, lengthen and lift, reaching up and back. Exhale to hold. Belly still draws in. Inhale, reach further. And then exhale, release it back down. Last one, inhaling to lengthen and lift. Exhaling to hold. Inhaling to reach further. And then exhaling, drawing it back down. Then those hands can float their way to stack underneath the forehead so that the head is resting on top of the hands. I'll be slightly turned to direct us, but where this is going to go is we're going to inhale to lift and then exhale to lower. The demonstration is here. Inhaling to lengthen and lift. Might not be so high, that's totally cool. And then exhaling to lower back to that hover. Yes? Okay. Feet still staying on the mat. All right, I'll be slightly turned. And then also, if you're like, that is not happening today for me, the hands can also stay stacked here, and you can inhale to lengthen, and then exhale, curl back under. So know that you have choices. All right, here we go. 3 of these. Inhaling to lengthen and lift, all as one unit, and then exhaling back down. Belly button pulling away from the mat the whole time. Again, inhaling to lengthen and lift, and then exhaling right back down. Last one, inhaling to lengthen and lift, and then exhaling, taking it back down. Excellent. Before we go into actually, let's take the stretch. Let's frame the hands on either side of the chest. Let's press it up and back, and we're going to draw those knees in, keeping that back rounded, and frame the knees with the hands. Then we're going to press and round that back. This is beginning as more of a stretchy stretch. And then every time we exhale, we're going to feel our belly button draw toward our spine, and there's the core work. So we'll take a breath in our shell position, and then we'll exhale into our shell stretch, feeling that core activate. And we'll inhale here, keeping that curl, and exhale, feel that belly draw in. Last one, inhaling and exhaling. Then we can inhale and lengthen up to a brief hero pose. Awesome. Thought we might all need a break together. We're going to come back to the mat, however, in that same position with the lower body. So the legs are turned out at the hip, toes pointing toward the corner edges of the mat, and then the hands will be stacked on top of each other, and the forehead stacked on top. We'll be here. The forehead will stay down the entire time, so the upper body stays stationary here, and we'll be working on moving through the lower body in the leg lifts. We will do a few leg lifts to prepare alternating sides each time, but we're going to go into our swimmer breathing with the legs. So as we alternate lifting legs here through the glute hamstring connection, we'll be breathing in for 5 counts, and then we'll be breathing out for 5 counts. So it'll be breathing in 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out. Breathing in 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. But it'll be all one fluid count, and since you guys are working out at home with me, I will be counting the whole time so that we don't lose track of where we're at, and you guys know what to expect. So let's take that head down on the mat. I'll be slightly turned so that we can all hear and see one another. And we'll begin with the right leg. We'll inhale to lengthen and lift through that glute hamstring connection. Then we'll exhale, lower it down. Other side, inhaling to lengthen and lift. And then exhaling, lowering down. Again, inhaling, lengthening, lift on the right. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, lengthen and lift on the left. Exhale, lowering down. Last one each side, inhaling to lengthen and lift. Exhaling to lower. And then inhaling to lengthen and lift. And then exhaling to lower. Now we go into our swimmer with the legs only. So the head will be here for you guys. I'll be slightly turned so that we can all hear and see one another. But we'll inhale the right leg up. Keep inhaling to take the left up to meet it. Exhale to hold. Then we'll begin breathing In, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it up. Lifting both on an inhale, and then exhale. Lower everything down. Whew. And then press it back. And let's simply take a child's pose here. We can keep the knees apart or together, depending upon what feels best to us. And we'll reach the arms long and sit the hips back. And the head can be released to the mat here. It can be in a hover. We can take the arms and stack and fold them here. Whatever feels best and most comfortable to you. Hips can also be elevated, but we're wanting to curl that low spine under. We'll take 3 good breaths in and out here. And then use your hands to support you as you come up on an inhale. All right, we are going to go into some side bend prep work here. So where this is eventually going to go, visualize, if you will, a side plank here with the knees, the hips, and the hands, and then the hand and the shoulder all in line to begin in this nice diagonal shape. So not the sitting down shape, of which I was just in. Once we're here, then we're going to arc over, so the exact opposite of that sitting down shape I was in. And then we'll come back up to that diagonal shape, and then we'll sit the hips back down. So you may find that you need to make some adjustments as you go. Perfectly normal, totally okay. You know your body and what feels right better than I am going to. I like to think of myself as a Pilates and yoga guide, but at the end of the day, you're the expert on you and what feels right. So, lining our joints up as best we can. We're going to inhale, lengthen that arm up, press the hips forward, and keep inhaling to arc over. And then we're going to exhale, set everything back down. Let's take a few more of those. Inhaling to pass through that diagonal shape, and we're going to keep inhaling to go into that lateral flexion arc. And then we'll exhale, take it back down. Let's break down that breathing on the last one. Let's inhale, lengthen up with the arm and the rib cage. Exhale, press it forward and over. And then we'll inhale, take it back up, lengthening to neutral. And exhaling, setting those hips down. Awesome. We'll continue to refine the breathing in that move. However, let's take a counter stretch. So the legs are stacked. We're going to keep them in that same bent shape, but kind of pinwheel them by taking the above one and pressing it back, and the below one and pressing it forward. The hand can come to the back ankle or to the floor or to wherever feels right. And the free hand is going to take that opposite breath pattern. We'll inhale up, then we'll exhale, reaching it over in lateral flexion on the other side. And then we'll inhale, take it back up, and exhale, take it down. Let's switch the legs and take them over to get ready for the side bend prep on the other side. So, give you guys a sneak peek where this is going to go here in a moment. But we've got our joints lined up. I'm going to end up here with the shoulder over the wrist, and I'll be in this diagonal shape, and my knees and hand will all be in line. All right, palm faces up to begin. Let's inhale, lifting it up and arcing it over to begin. And then we'll exhale, take it all the way back down, and set the hips down. And again with this breath, inhaling to the diagonal and keep inhaling to arc. And then exhaling, taking it all right back down. And I do find that I need to adjust. All right, if you are also in the same boat, please readjust to taste. Now we'll have that 4-part breath pattern. We'll inhale to lengthen through the side of the rib cage, raising the hand and arm. Then we'll exhale, flex it over. Then we'll inhale, reaching back up. And then exhale, taking it back down and sitting those hips down. Wonderful. Top leg goes back, bottom leg goes forward to our pinwheel shape on the other side for our counter stretch. Back hand can stabilize at the ankle or on the floor, and the free hand faces palm up. We'll inhale, lengthen through the side of the rib cage here, and then exhale, take it over in that lateral stretch. And then we'll inhale, take it back up, and exhale, take it down. Okay, so where this is gonna eventually go, we'll work through a few steps to get us there, but we're gonna do side bend and side bend with a twist eventually. So please don't feel like you gotta do this. This is just a sneak peek for what's gonna be coming up in July, where we'll inhale up, exhale, taking it over into that arc. Then we'll inhale to ceiling, then exhale, scoop and dive. And then we'll inhale back up with a face full of hair, and then exhale, woo, bend the knees and come down. So that'll be awesome to work too. In the meantime, however, we're gonna take a comfortable seated position and our last breath of class together. Palms facing out, inhaling up, and then exhaling, taking it down. Awesome work, you guys. Please make sure that you hydrate throughout the day. Really thankful that I get to grow in my Pilates practice and Pilates instruction with you guys in our virtual situation. And hopefully you guys are looking forward to performing the full expression of the side bend twist as I am at the end of July. In the meantime, happy Independence Day, you guys. See you next week.